Yo, we're back at it with this VR mining and tree chopping code along using Unity 3D. In the last video, we implemented character movement and rotation, as well as object grabbing. Here you can see us grabbing a pickaxe. Now, in this video, we're going to put that pickaxe to use by actually being able to mine with it. An interesting part about this is if the rocks are not hidden the right way, the rock will not break. So, it's a realistic feel. Let's get into it. Now, the really fun part begins. Now is the meat of everything. Now is the whole point of this. And this is when we're going to set up the mining and the tree cutting for our game. So first we'll begin with the mining, and then we'll use the same principles to do tree cutting. You guys will see how you can apply this various different aspects of your game to do different things. Alright, let's get started on the mining. Okay, for the mining, we need to install another package. So let's go into another asset from the asset store. We'll go into the asset store, search online, and what I searched for is ore, and I went to the free assets, and what I found was Toon Crystal Pack by Clayman Studio, and here is how that looks. The Toon Crystal Pack right here. This worked great for me, and I'll show you guys how to use this package. Go ahead and install the tool or get it into your store or whatever. I already have it in my asset store, so I'm just going to go ahead and install it into the game. So once you have it, go ahead and go to Windows, go to Package Manager, and go to make sure you're in My Assets. And here you want to find, refresh the list if you have to, and then find the Toon Crystal Pack. I'm going to go ahead and click Import. Alright, the Toon Crystal Pack is importing. Oh well, it's already imported. Let's go ahead and check it out. We'll go to the meshes. See, everything is pink as usual. So we'll have to go to materials and set all these to the proper material, which is standard, universal random pipeline, lit. And same for all these, standard, universal random pipeline, lit. And yeah, so all those will now not be pink anymore. We'll go to my meshes and we'll create a rock that we can mine. So first of all, one thing that I noticed was that this was too low. We need to go ahead and grab all these and make them way taller. Maybe right there. That'll feel a little bit more natural to grab. Alright. So next, let's go ahead and import a rock. We will pick just a normal one. So this is the one we're going to pick, but as you can see, the color is a little too light. Let's go ahead and darken that a bit to make it actually seem like a rock, and there we go, which is beautiful. Beautiful rock. Perfect. And now that we have the outer part of the rock, maybe we use maybe use this one. We're gonna use this one instead. So rock 4 is the winning rock. Very rocky, you know. So we're gonna use this, and what we're going to do is attach the crystals to it. So for the crystals, let's use We'll use a couple of different ones. There's this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. We have our crystals. We go ahead and drag them into the rock prefab, and I'm just going to make sure the prefab is unpacked completely. So it's not even a prefab, it's just rock. Alright, and what we want to do is grab all these, and we're going to reset the position so everything is in the center, and we're going to just make everything a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's grab each crystal, and this you could do whatever you want to do, and just place them wherever you think a crystal should be for this type of mining experience. So I like my crystals to be very flat against my rock. So maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks like it's like an ore sticking out, right? We'll go ahead and have one just straight sticking out, you know. But you guys get the idea. Just put the ores wherever you want them to be and align them how you want them. So, oh my god, my OCD really is a bother. Alright, so that looks like a nice little crystal ore structure. Just gonna add one more over here. Okay. This is going to Alright, so there's our crystal ore. Nothing's in the way, so we can easily like test things on it. And so that will be one part of the rock. This is the rock when it's not broken. And then we want to duplicate this. And this will be the rock when it is broken. So we can remove the mesh renderer, the mesh component, and the animator. Don't even know why that's on there. For the second rock that we just duplicated, which will leave us just this. Oh, one thing also, go to the directional light, and I don't want any shadows, so no shadows. Alright. So, now we have these rocks, right? Which are just seeming like floating, but they're matching the position of where they should be. And for all of these, we're gonna add a mesh. Well, we could just do it in one big go. We'll add a mesh collider and make sure that it's convex. Now add component rigid body. So that will be able to let, there we go, that will be able to let this free float once it's activated. Okay, so we'll disable this one and we'll keep this one enabled, and then we're going to create a empty. Actually, I want to create the empty under the rock. So create empty rock Cayenne 4. Okay, then drag it out from the child into the underneath sample scene, and that will maintain its position where it's supposed to be. And then just drag these two underneath the rock and then the shattered rock. Let me rename these. So rock ore, shattered rock ore. Perfect. And now one other thing is, under the rock ore, we want to make sure we add a mesh collider and make sure it's convex. So then we have a collision on the rock itself. Okay. One other thing I want to do is on the scale, just scale it up on the Y to make it a little taller so it's easier to break. It's easier for us to reach and break and everything. Actually, this should be about the, never mind, we'll leave it where it is. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so we have our rock setup and we have our axe setup. Now we just need to create two scripts. One script as a rock manager and one script as our axe manager, right? And the axe manager is going to calculate how fast we hit the rock, and use that to calculate how hard we hit it based on the tip on the very top of the axe, right? That's where all the weight is. And then if it's hit on the right angle with the right amount of force, then we can tell the rock object to shatter or break. And that break will basically disable this rock ore and enable the shattered rock ore, causing all the pieces to fly around. So yeah, this is actually the main beef of this tutorial. The main reason why this is being made is for this mechanic right here, and everything else was more background to get to this point. Well, that's pretty cool. Now the two scripts, we're going to be adding two scripts first and then two other scripts, right? And I'm not going to write them from scratch because I didn't write them from scratch. I got them, it was a large effort by ChatGPT and back and forth to eventually get these scripts to work properly, and they were actually not very difficult. They can be written by yourself very easily. They're very simple scripts, but again, there's no reason to write these from scratch when they're already written, and we can go through them step by step, right? So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this folder pickaxe management, and in here we're going to what you would do is create a new C# script and name that C# script pickaxe controller. So let me go ahead and drag in the two scripts we're going to be using. So first we're going to go over pickaxe controller. I'm going to go over everything line by line, so you can just copy it. If you want to type it out, you can type it out right now, or you can just get these scripts. I'll make them public and you're welcome to download them from the description and use them. So pickaxe controller is first, and honestly insanely simple. That's why there's no point in even writing it step by step. So for the pickaxe controller, which we added in, make sure that you name it right. Make sure the names match the name in Unity. So pickaxe controller, we first have a public reference to a collider which will act as the axe tip collider. So we have the axe's handle collider already set up, but next we will set up the axe's tip, which will act as the edge of the axe. So we have a public reference to that, and we can just drag it onto the script as a reference, so we don't have to manage which of the colliders is doing what, right? Then we access the axe's rigid body, which the axe has a rigid body on there so that we can grab it and do everything. And we get a break threshold. This is the number, the float number that needs to be beat for this break event to be fired. So we'll consider the swing of the axe strong enough when it's higher than 8 on impact. Okay, that'll become more clear when I describe it in game. So we have the break threshold, then we have a start function which runs on the start, and we are getting the reference to our rigid body, and we get our rigid body so that we can calculate the top of our axe. It's because all of our calculation of the force is being calculated from the tip of the axe, or the axe's edge, which is what the collider represents. Okay, next we have the on collision enter event, which is going to be fired for the colliders in our game. Then we have to check if the collision is happening with the proper collider. So here we get collisions.context0.this collider, so we see which point is colliding, and we make sure that the part of the axe that is colliding is actually the axe's tip and not the handle. So this won't work with if the handle accidentally hits something, but the axe's actual edge has to hit something. And we make sure that the collision object that we're comparing to has the tag rock. So we have to go back to our Unity scene and put the tag rock, put the tag rock onto our rock so that it can actually be collided with. Next is the more meat of this code, which is the calculation of the impact force. First, we have to calculate the angle of the impact. So we don't want the impact to happen at any angle. Let's say I'm holding the axe flat and I smack it against the rock on the flat side of the edge. Well, then it shouldn't do any damage. It should do very little damage, if anything. This is a way for us to handle seeing how accurate the strike is on the rock, on the impact point, if it's actually perfectly perpendicular or not, making it seem more realistic. That's what realistic striking mining is like. You have to actually hit on an exact point to get the most force into the rock. So we get the angle, make sure the angle is non-negative, and then we calculate the velocity of the axe's tip. So we get how fast our axe is moving and how good our axe hits the rock. So the three factors to make this perfect would be how strong our character is, so how much strength is being swung with, or how much strength the character has, then how much speed, so force and speed, and how well the impact is. So if the impact is done in a proper way, hits a weak point, something like that. We get 2 of those, which is to calculate the velocity, how fast, and to calculate what angle the axe is at. It's good. We could do a little better for this, like in the future. If we want to make it to where 2-hand swing should be stronger than 1 hand, we give a strength multiplier to if you're holding with 2 hands versus 1 hand, things like that. That's fine. So we right here get the velocity using the rigid body's get point velocity, and then we modify our force. So this is where we're actually seeing how good our angle is compared to our impact force. And then finally, we are doing an simple if statement to see if our modified force, basically the force of us hitting the rock, is greater than our break point, the breaking point of that rock. And if it is, then we call a script attached to the rock called the rock controller, and call break rock, which basically tells the rock to break. Okay, that's the pickaxe controller script explained. Pretty simple stuff, honestly. So let's go ahead and X out of that. And that script is not perfect. It's literally just a rough kind of mess around point to then build further off of. So that's the pickaxe script. Now let's look at the rock controller. The pickaxe script will go on the pickaxe, the rock script will go on the rock, and the rock script is extremely simple. We just have a reference to the shattered rock, which is the broken rock prefab or object we created already, and then we just disable one, we disable our game object, the rock that's not shattered, and enable the shattered one. Very simple. Alright, so let's go ahead and test this. So well, first let's set it up. So let's add the rock controller onto the rock and attach the shattered rock object that we created onto there. Okay, and then for pickaxe we need to do something first, which is create the second collider that will act as the pickaxe's edge. So add component box collider, and now we will go ahead and set the center to be 0, 0, and then the Y will also change in this one. But so for the Y on the sides we'll do 0.05. On the Z we'll do 0.05, and on the X we'll do 0.089. For the X we'll do 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. We'll do 0.4. That looks good. So now let's move the Y up to where it should be, which I think the best spot would be 0.33. That looks nice. Let's change the 0.4 on the sides to be 0.5, and yeah, that looks like a perfect strike zone. So this will be where this hits, will be where the strike is calculated. Alright, so now that we have our two colliders, we need to add the pickaxe controller, and we just drag that box collider we created onto the axe tip collider. There we go. Let's go ahead and press play and test this out. Ooh, error. Tag rock is not defined. That is true. So we go to the rock and we're going to add a tag. We're going to add the tag rock. Click save, go back to rock and assign that tag. Perfect. Now we press play. Alright, so let's look at that, and first of all, when we just click it, it doesn't, when we just hit it, it doesn't break. Now when we hit it hard enough, it should break. So let me try to get this right. There we go. Perfect. And we can mess around with the ore, toss them around, you know. Really whatever you want. So that is mining. Yep. We created a little mine system. So yeah. Next is going to be tree cutting, but first I want to mess around with the mining a little bit. I feel like this is momentous, right? We did good. Good job, you guys. Yes. But let's go ahead and make sure. Well, let's go ahead and have a little fun now. I'm going to mine away. I'm going to go ahead and click my cayenne rock, zoom out, and just create a crap ton of them. Let's press play and let's go mining. Hey. Okay, let's grab this one. Turn towards the ore. First of all, I want to try just. Oh! Ouch! Well, damn it. Did I break it? Yep, just hitting it straight up doesn't break it. I just hit my hand pretty hard. I believe hitting it from the back should, because the angle is still. And it's a lot harder. Anyways, alright, let's go ahead and just get some ores. So, get the angle perfect. Okay. Alright, just a little bit harder with two hands because I'm sitting down. I really like how you really do have to try to make sure your angle is right. Make sure you're actually winging this thing. There we go. Here. There we go. I'm just gonna use one hand for a bit. As you can see, it's not like it's inaccurate, it's more the user error that's coming into play when I'm playing. If I hit it hard enough, it will break. If I hit it wrong, it doesn't break. Get these out of the way a little bit. Okay. Final rock. Perfect. Nice. Oh, I missed the tops. Alright, so next we're going to be doing tree cutting. And that will be it for this after the tree cutting. For the mining, man, so much potential. I'd like to mention that I created a Discord server so that all of you can talk to me whenever you need. If any of these projects or any of my other projects are interesting to you and you would like my help with something else or just like to discuss and talk about things, please join the Discord server. I'll try my best to be on there, and we'll even host some random talk nights or something. So hope to see you there. Thanks everybody for watching. So this will be the end of this part, and we'll continue this along in the next one. If you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It would help me out. And also remember to join the Discord if you're interested in having conversations or listening into some of the talk nights. Have a good one. Goodbye.